This year I lost 50 pounds and got down to around 12% body fat. And there's one exercise I did that helped most to reduce my belly fat and help me keep it off. In this video I'll share with you the #1 exercise for losing fat, the fundamentals on how you can lose belly fat, and the 2 most underrated exercises that can help you lose fat faster, including one that nobody seems to talk about on the internet. If you're new here, hey, I'm Matteo. I invented looking both ways before crossing the street. I lost 50 pounds now twice in my life and have spent the last 8 years helping guys lose fat and get in shape using a simplified approach to nutrition and training. And if you've seen my videos before, welcome back. Because I respect your time and attention, the #1 exercise for losing fat is resistance training. It burns a similar number of calories to endurance training. It increases your resting metabolic rate by about 5 to 10% after the first few years of training because you have more metabolically active tissue on your body. It has a slightly better appetite suppressing effect than most traditional forms of cardio, and it forces your body to give up more fat for every pound of body weight you lose because you're not going to lose as much muscle along the way. But if losing belly fat was as simple as showing up and lifting weights at the gym a few days per week, then how come there are so many guys at my gym with bulging midsections who show up consistently, and some of them have even been going for a couple of years? And why are you struggling to shrink your waistline despite dabbling in some weight training yourself? Let's talk about the first big elephant in the room, which is that you'll never lose the fat you want to if you don't get your nutrition in check. Seriously, when it comes to how much fat you're carrying, your body doesn't care how hard you work out or how frequently you do it. If you are unable to lose weight, you are not going to see a significant reduction in the girth of your waistline. And we all know how important girth is. You can eat back all the calories you burned in a 1-hour workout in just 2 minutes, and this was a lesson that I learned the hard way. It's sad to admit that I was always the chubby kid in my family growing up. I never really seemed to grow out of the moon face or the chubby waistline that I had as a kid. And it got worse as I got older. I got a stressful job, I started drinking beers a few nights after work, I picked up a smoking habit, and before I knew it, I saw an all-time high on the scale, and my clothes just weren't fitting and feeling right, and I was unhappy with the way my body looked. I tried running, and I tried keto, and nothing really seemed to stick, and running ultimately just felt like it beat the crap out of my body at that weight. And it wasn't until I figured out that a calorie deficit was the most effective way to burn body fat that I actually made some real progress, and I lost 50 pounds, and I saw my belly really shrink. So what is a calorie deficit, and how do you know if you're doing it right? When you're burning more energy than you're feeding your body each day, your body has to go look for that energy from somewhere, and it taps into your fat stores to find it. Take a look at this water bottle. The calories coming into your body are represented by the water coming in through the tap. The water escaping the bottle through the hole at the bottom represents the calories you burn from exercise each day. If you're putting more calories in than you're burning, you'll gain weight over time. Burn more calories than you're putting in, and you'll lose weight. The problem is that in real life, it's so much harder to burn calories than it is to consume them. So trying to just drain more water out of that bottle without controlling the tap does not work. Oh, and if you're not sure if you're in a calorie deficit, just keep a notepad on top of the toilet. Step on the scale first thing in the morning after using the bathroom, no food, no water for the next 7 days, and write down your weight in that notepad. Then look at the average of your next 7 weigh-ins and repeat the process for 7 days after that and compare the two. If your average is moving down over the next 2 weeks, then you're losing weight. And your body's gonna start tapping into your fat stores around your midsection in order to find that energy from somewhere. And if you don't want to use the notepad on the toilet, you can grab my free weight loss calculator using a link in the description box. It'll give you a nice tidy spreadsheet where you can track all your weight loss progress in one place. Now, you've probably heard of a million different ways to burn more calories, like biking, the rowing machine, or sprinting. And everyone online is wondering how they can burn calories faster, but everyone seems to still be struggling to lose the weight, so maybe they're looking for the wrong thing. Before we get into my favorite exercise to burn more calories, what if there was an exercise that actually helped you eat fewer calories? There is! The most underrated exercise for this is mindfulness meditation. This meta-analysis of 14 studies found that mindfulness meditation helped people who struggle with emotional or stress eating and binge eating to engage in those behaviors less. The paper showed mindfulness meditation having mixed results on weight loss, but that was likely because it was the primary intervention, meaning they weren't asking people to exercise or eat less. Stress makes you less likely to exercise, and it leads to worse decision-making around your food choices. And having consistently elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol might even lead to excess fat storage in the abdominal area. So if you know that stress is a big part of the reason why you haven't been eating healthy or working out lately, then maybe including a little 10-minute session of eyes closed, deep breathing just to chill the fuck out each day, it might be a big deal for you. But just getting Zen alone probably won't be enough to make you lean. Once you've gotten into lifting weights, you've gotten your food in order, and you've taken a fucking chill pill, it might be time to accelerate your fat loss efforts with some extra exercise. But what is the best exercise to accelerate your fat loss? This 54 paper meta review found that high intensity exercise had no no distinct benefit over lower intensity exercise for fat loss. They also found that exercise caused fat loss in the upper body, the torso, and the lower body, which suggests that endurance exercise doesn't target specific fat stores preferentially. They also found that exercise led to a very small amount of fat loss, and that the amount of exercise required to burn a meaningful amount of fat would be extremely high. So aiming to do a ton of high intensity exercise like running or sprinting, especially without managing your food in an effort to lose more fat, is probably just going to leave you sore, beat up, tired, hungry, and unhappy with your results. And that's because the majority of the calories you burn each day doesn't come from exercise at all. Take this deck of cards for example. If all these cards represented the total amount of calories that you burn each day, about 70% of it doesn't even come from exercise at all. All this energy gets burned just keeping your brain alive, keeping your heart pumping, and turning over your cells. And of this remaining 30% of the energy you burn each day, the majority of it doesn't even come from your workouts. This energy gets burned by brushing your teeth, doing the laundry, jerking off, and doing whatever else you do throughout the day. So you can see that exercise is really just icing on the cake when it comes to weight loss. But that doesn't mean it's useless. If you can consistently burn more calories every day, then that means you get to lose weight while eating more food, or you get to lose more weight while eating the same amount of food, which for most people is just so much easier. I mean, would you rather diet on 1700 calories per day, or would you rather eat 2000 or 2500 calories per day and just be a little bit more active? When you take all these things into account, the single best exercise that can be done consistently to burn more calories and aid in fat loss is walking. It can be done almost anywhere, at almost any time, by almost anyone, and it generates a very low amount of fatigue, which means that it can be done sustainably daily for a very long period of time. It also makes you live longer on average, as seen by this meta review of 15 papers, which is pretty cool because there are very few things that reliably increase the duration and the quality of your life, and an increase in daily activity through a walking habit is one of them. It also seems to have a positive effect on your ability to control your blood sugar levels, especially when walking is done directly after meals. Brisk walking also seems to have a positive effect on people's mood scores, which totally lines up with my personal experience. It also increases gastric motility, which means things moving through your digestive system, which means you'll have decreased bloating and indigestion, and I find it really just helps to get things moving nicely. There's an older woman who's very popular on social media right now. Her and her husband go for fart walks after dinner because they eat a high fiber diet, so they just go for a little walk to get all the gas out. I think that's hilarious. You'll also notice that when you start walking more, that your sleep quality might improve. I find that after a very active day, I fall asleep just the second my head hits the pillow, and improving your sleep quality is a massive deal. You'll be happier, you'll be more productive, and you'll have more energy throughout the day. You'll also hold on to more muscle and burn more fat. In this paper by Wang and colleagues, they dieted 36 individuals for 8 weeks, and they split the groups in half. In group 1, they had them just sleep normally, and in group 2, they restricted their sleep by reducing it 1 hour per night, 5 days per week. The well-rested group lost 83% of their weight as fat mass, where the sleep-restricted group only lost 58% of their weight as fat mass, and the rest came from lean mass. And yeah, the diet was short, and it's not a ton of participants, but still, it's a pretty crazy thing. You also just get better ideas when you go for walks. It's crazy to me how 98% of fitness content on the internet right now just assumes that the only thing you want in your life is to lose fat and build muscle. Man, I got into this fitness thing to improve the quality of my life. And better ideas lead to a better life. If you want to get nerdy about this, go Google default mode network. It's basically the reason why your brain gives you such great and creative ideas while you're in the shower, and the same thing happens when you go for routine walks. Okay, it's all good and great to be in a walking habit, but how do you get started and actually stick to it? The first thing is what I call brain breaks that literally anyone can do in 10 minutes. Right before or after your meals, you stand up, you go to your front door, you put your shoes on, and you walk briskly away from your house for 5 minutes, and then you turn around and come back. That's it. It's literally just a brisk 10-minute walk that burns an extra 50 to 100 calories, depending on how big you are. It freshens up your mind, and you can slot this in during times where you'd normally be mindlessly scrolling on your phone. I also like to go for longer walks on mornings, evenings, and weekends, and I'll bring earphones with me so I can listen to podcasts or audiobooks and jot down good ideas that come to me, or I can listen to music or just listen to nature, or I can call my friends and family and tell them that I appreciate them. I'm also a big fan of setting a daily step goal to standardize my activity levels and get my ass off the couch, even if I've had a busier work day. Even if that means getting up off the couch in the evening to go do laundry or clean up my room when I realize that I have a few thousand steps left to go. Get a knockoff Fitbit off Amazon for 20 bucks or enable step tracking on your phone. A daily step goal is the most underrated tactic for losing body fat, and that's why I include it in the 4-point fat loss framework that I teach. Steps, calories, protein, and body weight. If you get these 4 under control, you can shrink your waistline without hours of cardio or BS diets. And that's exactly what I'll teach you to do in 4-point fat loss, which is my brand new program launching June 29th. You can grab it using the link in the description box before the price goes up on Saturday. Now, maybe you clicked on this video because you're looking for a special exercise that's gonna magically melt your belly fat overnight, but here's the truth. You can dramatically transform your body over the next 3 to 6 months with just 1 hour per day of focused effort. Find a method that's worked for someone else and give it an honest go for 30 days. Document your process and your progress so you know what's working. At the end of the 30 days, you can ditch the parts you don't like and double down on what's working. You don't need to come up with a new idea on how to lose weight. You just need to find one that works for you. And maybe that ends up being this mosaic of different methods that you've tried over time. Make yourself the project. Be your own coach. You can't fuck this up. Thank you so much for watching. As always, be sure to subscribe to the channel so I can see you in the next one. Peace.